Hello, everyone, and welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 233. I'm your host, Andrew Eisen. Welcome to my rambling about stuff that I care about way too much. So, the first thing I'd like to talk about is Ghostbusters. Now, last year, if I recall, I made a YouTube video talking about the 5 movies that I was most anticipating seeing that year, 2020. Well, then the pandemic happened, so I didn't see some of them. Some of them were delayed. Some of them still not out yet, like the new Ghostbusters movie. Let me see if I can remember what they were. I think one was Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. Saw that one actually before the pandemic happened, so hang on. Phone is yelling at me. Let me see if that's important. The arranged delivery for the parcel, blah blah blah, has been changed. Please confirm here. Yeah, that's spam. Doopy doo, doopy doo, boop a boo, boop a boo. Alright. Yeah, click on this weird link. What was I talking about? Do I need to start the show over? Hello, everyone, and welcome to Molehill Mountain. Um. Yeah. Oh, movies that I wanted to see in 2020. Uh, Birds of Prey. Saw it, liked it. Uh, Promising Young Woman. That actually did come out on some streaming services, none of which I have access to, so I haven't seen it. Bummer. Looks good. I'd like to see it. Movies I want to see. Thank you, Cass. Thank you, Lindy. Um, well, Ghostbusters was on that list. That was supposed to come out last July. Still not out yet. So, there was a clip from the movie released about 2 weeks ago. And I thought I would talk about it with y'all fine folks because Ghostbusters is my favoriteest movie of all time. I wouldn't say it's the best movie of all time, but it is my favorite and probably always will be. And I am a huge mark for Ghostbusters. I like everything Ghostbusters. Even the Ghostbusters that are not very good. Like the movies other than the first one. You know? First movie's great. Second movie and the one in 2016 are not great, but I enjoy them anyway, because they're Ghostbusters, and they have fun people who shoot lasers at ghosts, and what more do you want? Well, you may want more, I might want more, but that in and of itself can often be enough for me. So we're getting another movie with people shooting lasers at ghosts, and I'm very much looking forward to it. So, if I'm doing this right, let's watch a clip from the movie. Hopefully the sound will come through. I think it's this. Let me turn off mine. There we go. All right. I hope you're getting sound. It's gonna be a very dry watch if you don't, but it's only like 30 seconds, so.
Shamoka. Strawberry, red velvet, blue velvet.
Okay. I hate this. a lot. And that surprised me because Ghostbusters is my favoriteest thing. Now, I'm going to be very critical about this clip. I'm going to try not to use the F word repeatedly. But before I launch into a tirade, a profanity-laden tirade, I would like to be as fair as possible and point out a couple things. Number one, let me turn this off and put my webcam back on. Doop, doop, doop. There we go. Number one, this clip is certainly not exactly how it goes in the film. You might watch it and go, well, boy, that's some wonky ass editing. Yeah, this whole sequence is probably 2 minutes long and they chopped it down to 30 seconds for a YouTube spot. That is par for the course when it comes to studios that put a clip from a movie on YouTube or on TV just to show a piece of the movie. So we are missing a lot of cuts throughout this entire sequence. So that's why it's kind of janky and doesn't play very well. Matthew says, so you managed to get a vaccine appointment? I did. It was easier than getting a PS5, which I don't have, or a graphics card, for a modern graphics card for MSRP, which I also don't have, or weights, because I still can't find a 45-pound plate less than $200, and I ain't paying over 50 for one. So anyway, it's always weird when they take clips out of movies because, one, by its very nature, it's completely out of context. You don't know who the characters are. You don't know where. It's obviously at Walmart or something. But I don't know who this is. I mean, I'm a big Ghostbusters dork, so I know who he's playing and who the character is. He's a teacher. Which vaccine? I don't know. Moderna. So, so clips like these inherently have a lot working against them. They're out of context. You have no relationship with the characters in the clip or the circumstances they find themselves in. As mentioned, it's not like they just removed a clip from the movie. They removed a clip from the movie and then edited it all to hell to get it to fit in a 30-second spot. So I don't look at this clip, hate it, which I really don't like it, and it doesn't sour me on the movie. I don't watch this and go, well, I do a little bit, but I try and say, you know what, it's out of context, it's not as it would appear in the film. Even the score is probably different than it would appear in the film, so it is what it is. So, Andrew, I hear you say, why don't you like this clip? Funny enough, the thing that bothers me the most is the music cue. Let's listen to this again. This music cue is the little mini Stay Puff emerges from the bag. Listen to the cue. Uh-huh. Yeah. Now, if you're a casual fan, the music is probably familiar, but if you're a super dork like me, you know exactly where in the movie that comes from. You know what theme that is. That's the Gozer theme. Not the motif that's used throughout the softer strings motif that's used throughout the rest of the film for Zool and the whole gatekeeper stuff. No, this is the big brass band full score Gozer final battle music. And they put it here on a mini puff emerging from a bag. That is an inappropriate use of a music cue. Now, to be fair, this might not be the cue that's actually used in the film proper. They may have just scored it that way for the for this clip. Did you ever see? Now, I guess you could charitably look at it as a subversion of expectations. We're using the final battle Gozer theme. Bum 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 bum. And it's like, oh shit, something big has happened, and then it's just a little mini marshmallow guy. Oh, we got you. Maybe that's the intention. Maybe. It just feels wrong to me. You ever see the remake of RoboCop from several years back? Remember the theme from RoboCop? The RoboCop theme? Bum 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 bum. Great theme. Love it. Alex Murphy, before he's RoboCop in the remake, before he's RoboCop, before the character is even introduced to the audience. So we don't know who this is. All we know is there's a guy who we haven't seen his face yet because the camera's just following along behind him. And he's walking into an office building or a police station. And the music, full score, bum 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 bum. It's like, what are you doing? You can't full blast. That's not even foreshadowing. That's just full blast the RoboCop theme. That is inappropriate. And so it goes with the score for the little emergence of the mini Stay Puft. Here's another thing that bothers me, and I genuinely don't understand why it is that way. Does something look off about this character to you? I mean, that's clearly a mini Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. But something looks wrong, doesn't it? And there's a good shot of him. Now, why doesn't that look right? What's wrong here? He's missing his collar. Kind of amazing how much of a difference that design choice makes. That just looks weird. That looks cool. That's a complete design. That is not working. And here's a weird thing. If you look at the marshmallow packaging, you can see that the character on the Stay Puft Marshmallow packaging has the collar. And you might say, well, Andrew, the little marshmallow that came out, it's only a bag of marshmallows. They don't have cloths to dress themselves with. Yeah, but as you can clearly see, he has the hat thing going on there. So if that's there, which honestly does not bother me, he should have his collar. I don't know why the collar isn't there. That's weird looking. So, let me, just for funsies. By the way, no one has said anything in the last 10 minutes, so, am I still streaming? Yeah, I'm still streaming. You guys okay? By the way, was sound coming through the clip? I'm curious. When I played the clip, could you actually hear the clip? Let me know in the chat, please. Bup, bup, bup. Yep, okay, cool. So, just for funsies, because it's been confirmed that I actually have sound coming through, I'm going to play the clip again and see if I can rescore it and make it all better. So, off with me, on with thing. Here we go. Yeah, that works. So, am I still excited to see Ghostbusters? Yeah, yeah. I mean, I really don't like this clip. In fact, it just, and I'm not terribly sure why this clip bothers me as much as it does. Yeah, I think I can make a decent case for the designs of the little Stay Puffs missing the collar being the wrong choice. I think I can make a compelling case for this is not an appropriate place for the final battle Gozer music. But I mean, you know, in context and with all of the cuts in their proper place, this might work a lot better. For those who didn't recognize the music I was playing there, that's the theme from Gremlins. Uh, which I think Gremlins also came out in '84. Ghostbusters was '84. Gremlins was '84 also. Let me see, because I honestly I need to put my camera back. Let's check that out. Gremlins was 1984. Yeah, I'm I know useless stuff. So you remember 10 years ago or however long ago it was where DC did the New 52, the whole redesign of the characters, and they took away Superman's red underwear on the outside of his blue tights? And it looked wrong. I mean, before you're like, Superman's wearing his underwear on the outside of his clothes, that's silly, and then they took it away, and y'all went, or we all went, oh, that's there for a reason. Yeah, shorts on the outside of the clothes, odd choice, but boy, does it look weird when it's not there. And they've fussed with the design over the years, and tends to be a lot better when you at least have some type of belt. I think that so. Same thing with the mini Stay Puffed, not State Puffed, Stay Puffed. The collar's missing. It looks wrong. It's kind of like wearing a single solid color, no pattern, floor length dress without a belt. Not a lot of people can pull that look off. It always looks weird to me. Needs a belt. Um, anyway, so Ghostbusters. I look forward to seeing it someday. Uh, I hope it comes to a streaming service that I have access to, because a lot of the stuff is on HBO Max and I don't have that. Here's another thing that I've found interesting, and maybe it's just I'm blind, but is it just me? Or are streaming services loath to let you browse their catalog to see what movies or TV shows or whatever they offer before you actually sign up? I don't know if it's just unavailable or I'm blind or they make it really hard to find, but like Hulu, HBO Max, I cannot find what damn movies are on their service just by going to the site. There's just click here to sign up. It's like, I don't want to sign up. I want to see what movies you have so I can make an informed consumer decision as to whether I want to sign up or not. Matthew says, should marshmallows be banned in the Ghostbusters universe? They all seem to be haunted. Yeah. Um, Another thing that kind of bugs me about this clip is it makes me concerned that the film is going to rely too much on the iconography of what came before. You know, Stay Puffed is great. We don't need Stay Puffed again. Slimer is great. We don't need Slimer in the movie. Give us new stuff. Ghostbusters 2 was already pushing it with the Statue of Liberty thing. It worked. It was different enough. The context was completely different, but it so heavily echoed Stay Puffed that it was like, we're just doing this again. So, also, the Stay Puffed Marshmallow Man was a manifestation caused by the Ghostbusters. Gozer said, I'm going to destroy you. Choose the form of your destruction. The destroyer has come, choose its form and perish. And they're like, okay, don't think of anything. And Ray's like, the mascot and the Stay Puffed Marshmallows. And so that comes walking down the street. That is hilarious. And that's why the Stay Puffed Marshmallow Man walked down the street, because the Ghostbusters chose the form of the destroyer, the Stay Puffed Marshmallow Man. Why are these here? Maybe there's a really good in-universe reason for little mini Stay Puffed Marshmallow Men. Or maybe we're just pandering and relying heavily on the iconography of the original film. I hope not. But, I mean, this is a 30-second YouTube clip, so meh. Alright, moving on. Resident Evil Village had if you have a PlayStation anyway, PlayStation 4 or 5, I guess, has a timed demo today where you can play a portion of the village for 30 minutes. When 30 minutes elapses, you don't get to play anymore, whether you're done or not. So I played it, and if you've played it, I got to the house, I got to the attic, and then I got out the window and ran out of time. I have no idea how much more actual demo there is, but that's how far I got. So, how's Resident Evil 7? Well, I'm sorry, the 7, it's damn good. I enjoyed it. How's Resident Evil Village, the demo? The item combination screen, the screen, the menu screen where you combine items to craft new items, like you combine an herb and chemical to make first aid goo, or you combine scrap and gunpowder to make bullets. That screen needs some work. It's not user friendly. It's not intuitive. You should be on a crafting screen. Anyone playing should be able to look at this crafting screen and instantly go, okay, that requires this many of A and this many of B. I clearly have this many of A and this many of B, so I can either craft this item or not yet craft this item because I need more of A or B. The crafting screen is not intuitive at all. I looked at it several times and I'm still not clear on what I actually have and if I can. So essentially I just slammed on the button to see if it would craft or not, because it was not instantly clear if I had the proper components. Also, the highlight is not as noticeable as it should be, because I also occasionally was not clear what I was actually highlighting. Tiger, hello. Matthew says they did that for the Resident Evil 1 and 2 remakes as well. People seem to like it as a format. I didn't have a problem with the combination screen in Resident Evil 2 remake. This one's slightly different. I mean, the idea is the same. Oh, Resident Evil 7 has the same. Has It's actually a lot closer to Resident Evil 7. Kind of uses the Resident Evil 4 briefcase combined with the Resident Evil 7 crafting system. Except the UI is not as clear as it should be. Is it impossible to figure out? No, but it could use some tweaks. Game's a little dark. Then again, I was playing in the daytime, so that may have washed out the screen a little bit. Um, there is a section with where the enemies first come at you, where you first see enemies. You are in an area with some very thick, tall grass. That the set dressing there needs some work because I wasn't sure if I was crouched or not, and I couldn't see what the hell I was doing because there's just too much thick grass. I'm not sure what the fix is, but it was an issue for me. Oh, that's what you mean, Matthew. You're talking about the one and done 30 minutes version of the demo. People seem to like that. I don't know why they like that, because it sucks. Objectively. And I'll prove it. On the one hand, we have a demo with a start and a finish, and you can play it as much as you want, and you can play it all the way to the end, however long it takes you. On the other hand, you have a demo that has a start and an end. You get one shot at it, and you get 30 minutes. This is better. This is frustrating. Now, it does its job. It shows the game, and hopefully gets you to pre-order it, or at least want to buy it. But I genuinely don't understand anyone who's like, "Ooh, that's a great format. I like limitations." Okay. I imagine there are some players who are like, actually, I kind of like it. I only get one shot, 30 minutes, because then I don't play it to death and get sick of it. Because I imagine, like, some people, I put 100 hours fighting Magnamalo in the Monster Hunter Rise demo, and now I'm absolutely sick of the damn game. So, I'm sure for some players it would have advantages. Me, I don't like it because my style of play is to absorb the atmosphere and the environmental storytelling. I like looking at all the set dressing and stuff. I think it's neat. But now I don't have time because I've only got 30 minutes. I have to rush through the damn thing. And I have to figure out the menus real quick, and I have to go into the control settings and read it real quick because there's all the different control options, type A, type B, type C, type D. It's like, well, I better figure this out real quick because I only got 30 minutes. I don't understand why anyone would prefer that. But hi, Travis. Damn you, all caps. Damn you, Japanese game devs making hot female characters. I don't know why you damn Japanese game devs for that. I mean, it's certainly not like they've cornered the market on that. I imagine what are you even referencing? Anyway, Tiger says, if you love environmental storytelling, Half-Life 2 has some amazing and depressing storytelling. Still never played the Half-Life games. I've told this story several times. I think I played the first Half-Life for like 30 minutes and was bored out of my mind. Now, I only played for 30 minutes because I think I was at like someone else's house and I only had 30 minutes to play it. I was like, oh my god, nothing happens. Like the first 5 minutes are on a tram, and then you just walk around. I actually got to the point where there's the room with the interdimensional portal and lightning and stuff, and then head crabs jump out and you hit them with a screwdriver. crowbar, and then by that point I was just kind of bored. It also doesn't control very well the first game, but yeah. Um, but other than those few little nitpicks, the demo was enjoyable. It's I'm interested in what's going on in the village. Uh, Plays fine. Um, yeah, I mean, I love me my Resident Evil games, even 5 and 6. I mean, I don't love them as much, but I felt they were worth. Revelations 2 also not great, but I felt they were all worth a playthrough. I don't. I'm trying to think if there's any Resident Evil game I've played that I was like, okay, this was just garbage. There are garbage Resident Evil games, I'm sure, like especially certain versions of certain games, but Travis says Gord must be strong to kill things with a crowbar with only one hand. It depends on how squishy. The crowbars are pretty solid and heavy, but yeah. Have you ever not a particularly common household item, I suppose, but if you've never held a crowbar, hold a crowbar. Then imagine actually swinging that thing. Not easy. I mean, I mean, yeah. I mean, you think you're just gonna bop bop bop? Nah, you're gonna break your wrist. So yeah, wielding a crowbar like that, pretty impossible, or rather, not practical for extended periods of time. They're heavy and awkward, but they're not meant for beating things on the brain pan. Um, yeah, there's going to be another Resident Evil 30-minute one-shot demo next week. This one will take place in the castle, and maybe we'll get to say hello to Lady Demiskiver, uh, she of the amazing hat, and her less interesting daughters, who all look exactly the same, at least from the previews and trailers. I hope they have more distinct personalities than has been shown so far. Um, why is all of Travis's comments getting well? I guess the word shit, but um, yeah. Don't say bad words because then I have to reach over here and unblock your and unblock your comment. Um, yeah, Resident Evil 7. It was fun. I don't care for the whole one-shot demo thing. I mean, I don't mind the whole you only get to play it once. Fine. I don't mind that. I mean, especially when it's Resident Evil. I'm not going to play through this specific story sequence multiple times unless I feel I like missed something. But the way I play, I probably didn't miss anything. Uh, Monster Hunter did that, and it's like you can only play this 30 times. Why? Why? I mean, everyone just uninstalls it and reinstalls it or deletes their saved, and it's like, I've got 30 more tries. Why? I mean, I guess there's probably smart people who have done studies and say, well, if we let people play it too much, they'll get sick of it. All right. But I do insist, me, Andrew, some guy, insist that I get to play the whole demo. The whole thing. Even if it takes me an hour to get through what everyone else takes 20 minutes. Because I'm slow. Because I like my admiring the set design that your developers worked so damn hard to put there for me to enjoy. Anyway, moving on. Yakuza 7, or as it is called here, uh, in Southern California. I don't know what it's called in Utah or Northern California, or even as far north as Burbank. Might have different titles in every single county. Who knows? But where I live, it's called Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is kind of funny because the Japanese name of the game is Ryuga Gotoku, which, from what I understand, translates as like a dragon. So it's like a dragon, like a dragon. Well, I mean, they didn't translate. It's just Yakuza, like a dragon. So the game's subtitle is a translation of the game's Japanese name, which is funny to me. So I've dumped some hours into Yakuza 7. Side rant. Yakuza. Yakuza. Not Yakuza. Stop doing that. You know, game journalists who get paid to talk about video games. It's a different language. A lot of these words are really hard in for people not who don't speak Japanese. I don't speak Japanese, and I pronounce these words not great, but I try. I try and say Tokyo, not Tokyo. And Yakuza, not Yakuza. I don't expect perfection, especially if you're trying to refer to a show like you. I can't even say it. Yuri. You. You know. God. Let me write it in the chat because it's impossible to say. There, that. Try saying that if you're not a native Japanese speaker. It's impossible. And the theme song for that particular anime actually sings that really fast. Travis says, you know the reference of Travis? Travis from Killer 7? No. Sorry, Travis. I have literally no idea what you're talking about. I mean, I'm aware of Killer 7. I don't remember if there's a Travis in it. It probably is. Let me think. Is it the character I'm thinking of? Ba-ba-ba. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Ba-ba-dee-da. Travis Bell? Oh, yeah, the guy with the tank top that constantly changes what it says. Yeah, that's so I was thinking of the right character. What about him? Great. What about him? Let's just stop the whole podcast. I'm curious. What about Travis Bell from Killer 7? You've got the floor. Okay, then. Then I apologize for as rude as this is going to come off, but I am now less inclined to pay attention to what you say in the chat. So Yakuza 7. I'm enjoying it a lot so far. It's alright. So Yakuza 7. I'm enjoying it so far. For those that don't know, Yakuza, with like one exception, uh, is a fisticuffs brawler. The main fighting mechanic is punch people in the head. This one is a turn-based RPG. That is That's a bold decision. But Yakuza is one of my favorite game franchises of all time, and RPGs, specifically ones with turn-based battle systems, are some of my favorite one of my favorite genres of video games. So, two great tastes. Do they taste great together? I think it's a good start. I think it's worth refining in a subsequent game. It works pretty well so far. I'm only in chapter 4 or something, chapter 5 maybe. So I'm not, terribly far throughout the game. I was going to, I think I mentioned this last week, I was going to do a new game fuss video for this, but it's just not a good game to do that because there's almost no gameplay for the first 5 hours. Most of it is story, and the gameplay that is there is just walk from point A to point B. A lot of the Yakuza games are like that. They've got slow openings, if you want to call them that. This one's no different, and it's also this one's paced really slow in the front, but once it actually you get to Yokohama and it lets you run around and play, then it starts pacing itself well. You get a party of characters fairly quickly. It's constantly introducing new things. It's constantly introducing new mini games, and the two main mini games in major mini games, at least I've come across so far. One is kind of a Mario Kart mini game where you drive a go-kart around a racetrack and pick up collectibles on the track that are weapons that you can fire at everyone else. It's fine. I think if you like Mario Kart, this will be fun. I hate racing games. I think they're just phenomenally boring, and this isn't doing much for me either. Racing games are interesting because a lot of them will do that rubber band thing where if you're too far ahead, it'll just speed up all the other enemies to so that you have people to race with, which is unfair. But if you don't do that, then if you have any skill at all, it's just boring because you're just driving in a circle. Now, granted, I've only played the first cup of Dragon Kart, which is the Mario Kart minigame thing, so it's really easy. So I won first place in all 3 or 4 races, whatever it was, without even trying. I just drove my 3 laps, never saw anybody else. It's boring. Travis says, is there an option to switch between dub and sub? I'm planning on playing all the mainline games blind. In Yakuza Like a Dragon, there is a, yes. In Yakuza Like a Dragon / Yakuza 7, yes. In Judgment, which is not a Yakuza game, but it does take place in the same universe. Those two games, Judgment and Yakuza Like a Dragon, those do have an English dub that you can play with the English vocals if you wish. But all of the games are primarily a Japanese dub. I'm playing it in Japanese because it's a game that stars Japanese characters who speak Japanese in Japan. So to me, it's weird. It would be weird to me to play that in English. Not weird to me if you played it in English. It would be weird to me for me to play it in English. It's just like, why are all these Japanese people in Japan speaking English? It's weird. There was a character that came up. Your protagonist, Kasuga Ichiban, he comes across a guy who says, "Hey, how do I get to the train station?" And Kasuga says in Japanese, "Oh crap, a guy who speaks English. Oh no." And there's this whole funny thing where Kasuga, who speaks Japanese, is trying to direct this English speaking tourist, to the train station. I have no idea how they localize that scene. It's probably awkward. Kind of like how all of the anime shows that follow school children, which is most of them, if you look, and so they're in like an English class. Those are always fun scenes to dub, I'm sure, because I occasionally I think I rem. Azumanga Daioh is a anime that about school kids, Japanese kids in Japan who speak Japanese and take English as one of their courses in high school. Out of curiosity, I flipped to the dub, and what they did is, since they all speak English anyway, they're taking like French class or Spanish class or something. I'm like, that's one way to do it. So, you work around it. But yeah, all of the Yakuza games and Judgment and the Fist of the North Star, they all have their original Japanese dubs. With the exception of the first two, Yakuza 1 and 2, the PlayStation 2 versions, those were dubbed into English and did not have their original languages. Those were released in as Kiwami versions a couple years ago, and those have the Japanese dubs. Think re-recorded too. Anyway, fun games, really enjoying it. The other racing games don't really care for. They're not bad. I just don't like them. I find them boring. Um, the other mini game is kind of like Pac-Man. The goal is to ride a bicycle that has a little cart trailer on it around a neighborhood and pick up cans uh, to take to the recyclers to make money. And so it's kind of like Pac-Man. You're going around the blocks picking up these dots or cans off the floor that automatically go into the little cart you're pulling behind you. There are boosts that you can use to go faster. There are rival can collectors or ghosts who will, if they ram you, you will lose cans. But if you collect the boost or power pellet, you can ram into them and take their cans. There's also some other stuff, like there's a garbage truck that drives around that you have to watch out for. There's some weird woman who goes running around dropping cans all over the place, but hey, you're looking for cans, so you pick them up. That one's a really good minigame. I really quite like that one. I mean, if you're going to ape a game mechanic, ape Pac-Man, that's classic. Can't go wrong there. Um, Travis says, "Oh God, those dubs are terrible." The PS2 Yakuza 1 and 2 on the PS2, yeah, yeah, they're not good. Uh, Different era though. From what I've seen of the Judgment and Yakuza 7 or Yakuza Like a Dragon English dubs, they're solid. So, if for anyone who prefers English dubs for whatever reason, you will probably be quite happy. One thing I know, I don't know if they did this with 7, but I know they did this with Judgment, is they had different scripts for the English dub and the Japanese dub. The Japanese dub, the subtitle script for the Japanese dub is different than the subtitle script for the English dub, which is good. So the subtitle script used for the Japanese dub is a more literal translation of the actual dialogue, whereas the English dub is just a transcription of what the English dub is. So it's really cool that Ryuga Gotoku Studios is taking that stuff so seriously and doing it so well. Now, if only they would localize Ishin and Kenzan, I would be a happy man. But until they do, I will be bitter and frowny-faced. Yakuza 7, like Yakuza games before, it is constantly throwing new stuff at you. Um, you there's this part-time hero mechanic, which is similar to... We've seen similar things to this in previous games, but basically it gives you little quests to do. Either collect these items or save these people from being uh, beaten up, or there's a guy in a bathroom with no toilet paper, buy some tissue and bring it to him. Um, uh, Beat 10 of these baddies. Um, all kinds of stuff like that. There's a whole mini game where someone lost all their cats and they're just hiding throughout the city. So if you'll be wandering around the city and you hear a meow and you're, oh, gotta find the cat. Um, you can plant. There are planters around the city that you can plant plants in, and after a certain amount of time, which you can modify with growth hormones and stuff, you can harvest fruit and veg and flowers. Why would you want to do this? Well, you can make bentos out of the fruit and veg for healing buffs. You can make bouquets of flowers to give to different characters to further your relationship. There's a cabaret club. I haven't been in there yet because it's expensive. I don't have any money. Um, there's there's all kinds of I found two gambling places. There's the Japanese games, Koi Koi and something else. Um, there's there I just earlier today, like a couple hours ago, found the other casino, which has blackjack and poker. Doesn't have all the games. Pardon me. Doesn't have all the games we've seen in previous games. Set like I don't see roulette anywhere. Didn't see the I forget what it's called, but it's the dice game. There's shogi. There's a guy who plays shogi. There's a mahjong parlor. Um, Mahjong I'm bad at. Mahjong is just really friggin' complicated. Shogi is not much more complicated than chess, but it's difficult if you're not used to Chinese characters to figure out which piece is which. When you're playing chess, the horsey is the knight. Yeah, but all of the tiles in shogi are exactly the same. They just have a character drawn on top. Some of the Yakuza games have actually overlaid a little symbol for which character that is, general or gold general or pawn or whatever, um, to help. But I've never really. I learned Koi Koi. I actually quite like that game. Uses Hanafuda cards. That one takes a while because you have to be able to read the cards because they're not numbered. You have to figure out the little designs on them. It's a fun game though. I like that one. Um, the other one, Ochi something or other, I forget. That one's not too bad. The dice one's pretty cool. Again, I forget what it's called, but that doesn't seem to be in this game, at least not so far. The If you were to ask me, Andrew, do you prefer the street brawling fisticuffs of the previous games, or do you prefer the RPG turn-based fighting? So far, I prefer the fisticuffs, but keep in mind that they've had a dozen games to actually refine that system. Um, I do like the turn-based RPG. I like the fact that Kasuga is with his buddies. Is not just a one-man powerhouse. Although that does, like Kiryu is. Kiryu just walks around, beats up a group of six guys, no problem. Kasuga runs up on six guys. Well, he's got a group of four of his own, so it actually feels a little bit more realistic. He doesn't seem to quite. He's a tough dude, but not quite the superhero that Cosmo Kiryu is. Um, that said, occasionally you do run into one-on-one fights, especially in the side stories, where the solution to every problem, as is the case in the Yakuza games, the solution to every problem is to punch it in the head. That's why I love these games so much. Um, you're forgiven, Travis. It's okay. Um, So you'll come across a person, you'll do a side story, and this guy comes to church and says, "Oh, I'm gonna throw down with you." It's like, all right, and it's this dude, and you've got your three other friends, and you just pound them into the dirt. It's simultaneously really funny and also kind of unfair and a little bit disappointing because it's not hard. Hey, cafe. Um, Although occasionally it is funny, in the earlier games you'd get into a side quest where you know some goober would come up on Kiryu and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna fight," and just one hit would put him down, and that's hilarious. Here it just kind of feels mean because you're ganging up on one dumb asshole with four people, but like some of the side stories, it kind of feels like I should be there myself. Also, there's kind of a disconnect, like when you go into the bar and you can activate little side stories with your characters to increase your bond with them. It's weird because you go into the bar and your characters are there. You'd go to enter the side story, and then it's like all the other characters disappear, and then your character walks like it just walked in. Oh, I'm just walking into the bar. Funny seeing you here. Let me pull up a chair and pour a drink, and we'll chat. And it's like we were just wandering around town together. This is just weird. Oh, here's another thing I don't like about the game. The karaoke minigame. You have to pay 500 yen to start the game before you actually get to see what the songs are. Kind of like how you seem to have to subscribe to Hulu or HBO Max before you can see what the hell shows are on that service. I don't like that. I would like to browse the songs, and then if I decide I want to sing one, I'll drop 500 yen. There's also a scrounging mechanic in the game that's really funny where you can just go up in front of all the vending machines and look under them for loose change. It's like 500 yen, score! Um, the We finally have a female co-lead, although I guess Haruka in Yakuza 5, she counts. So we've got another a female co-lead who's in your party. Saiko. I can't remember her name. Travis, dude, it's fine. Relax. Um, Psycho, yeah. So it's nice to have another female character that you can control. Ryuga Gotoku Studios could do better by her, though. Because, as is very often the case in entertainment media, um, you'll have a ensemble cast, and there will be, like, three dudes and one dudette. And you remember Mission Impossible from the 60s and 70s? Love that show. It's probably my favorite TV show. You had, well, starting in the second season anyway, you had Jim Phelps, uh, who was a dude, who was the leader and the planner and the organizer, right? So Jim Phelps, leader, planner, organizer. You had Willie. He was the strong man. He was the guy who picked up all the heavy stuff and punched people out if need be. You had Barney, who was the electrician. Who was the technology whiz. You had in the early seasons Roland Hand, who was the master of disguise. Then you had Cinnamon, who was the girl. That was no, no, but we had the leader, the electrician, the strong guy. What's her role? She's the girl. That's kind of still the same thing we have with Psycho here. Kasuga is an ex-Yakuza fresh out of jail. Um, what is his name? I can't remember the character's name. One guy is a ex-nurse who is now living on the streets. Another guy is a ex-cop who got demoted to, I think, the DMV and then got fired. And then you have Psycho, who's the girl. I'm glad she's there. She's really cool. But Ryuga Gotoku Studios, like many creative teams before it, are leaning, seem to be boxing themselves in. I bet, if you don't already know, I bet within 2 or 3 you could guess what Psycho's occupation is. MX, hello. Um, she is the owner of a one of the cabarets, because of course she is. What other role would a woman in this universe have? I've talked about this before. I'd like to have a female lead for Yakuza, but she's probably going to be a sex worker. Because I have the feeling that that is one of the only roles that Ryuga Gotoku Studios, and not picking on them specifically, they're just the developer of the game, it's like one of the only roles they can envision having a woman having. Here's another example. Uh, our main character's main weapon is a baseball bat. Our nurse character, his main weapon is an umbrella. Our cop main character, his main weapon is a truncheon, a nightstick. Can you guess what the girl's weapon is? It's her purse. She hits stuff with her purse. To be fair, that's really cool. It's really funny. It's really well done. But, Kasuga is wearing a suit similar to what Kiryu would wear, ex-Yakuza. Um, the ex-cop is wearing a pants and a jacket that has different patches on it that say police officer thing. Um, our ex-nurse, who is living on the street now, has kind of dresses almost like Columbo, right? The big heavy jacket with the hood and the pants and stuff. Can you guess what Saiko's wearing? She's wearing a miniskirt. Because of course she is. Let me give you another example. What are some of the character's major attacks or special moves? Well, uh, Kasuga has one where he teams up with the other characters, puts them in a headlock, and then smacks them in the head with a bat. He's got one where he yells at another character to scare them into dropping an item. The nurse character uh, has one where he gets down and pleads forgiveness and begs to put the other characters off their guard. The cop character has one where he takes out a bullhorn and yells at people, and then he has another one where he does some squats to pump himself up. Can you guess what special moves Saiko has? One of them's going, "Yay!" One of them's playing with her compact. Stuff like that. I'll give you another example. Like many RPGs, there's a class switching system here. Um, Kasuga, our main character, can be a Yakuza, a hero, a bodyguard, a break dancer, a musician, a chef. The nurse can be a musician, break dancer, chef, um, a couple others. The cop can be an enforcer, a construction worker, also a break dancer. Can you guess what job Psycho gets? Hostess, uh, idol, S&M madam. I think I haven't actually unlocked that job yet. She gets less jobs than everyone seems to have, like 6 to 8 jobs. She has 4, and they all revolve around her gender. And having said all that, Sayako is a very cool character, and her jobs are very cool. The outfits are cool, the attacks are inventive and a lot of fun. She kicks ass. She is a lot of fun. But I think Ryuga Gotoku Studios could have done better by her. One easy way to do that would be allow her to have some of the occupations that all of the other characters have, like the breakdancer. Why can't Sayako be a breakdancer? Or a chef? Or a construction worker? Or a musician? It feels like, well, because she's the girl. But I'm glad she's there because she is awesome. Lindy says, if I hear any more stereotyped girly stuff about Psycho, I will punch my screen. Yeah, yeah, it's a lot. It's it's all it's all of it. And it is cute, it is fun, it is charming, it's well realized, it's hilarious, but it's all, of course it is. You know? It's like that, and that's very, very often how the difference between how men are treated and how everyone else is treated in media. Men get to do or be anything. There are endless possibilities. The sky is the limit. Not men. You're kind of relegated to whatever your stereotypes are. You know, you got the girl in the well, you get a girl in your party, and she can be a dancer or an idol or a sex worker or. And all of her attacks are great. She can hit you with her purse. Maybe she throws her shoe. I don't. She doesn't. I haven't seen her do that. She, powders her nose with her compact, like girls do. Oh, we couldn't have Psycho. We couldn't have her. Yes, all of the 3 other characters get to do the breakdancer class, but Psycho couldn't do the breakdancer class. Why not? Because she's a girl? Are you saying girls cannot break dance? Well, no, no, she could. She kicks ass. Of course she could. But, she's wearing a miniskirt, so she'd be like flashing you. You're so close! You're so close to seeing the problem here, guys. And I'm sure it's all guys. Give her pants, and it's not a problem. Now, I am pretty happy to see that, though. Now, as much shit as I'm giving Ryuga Gotoku Studios here, and well-deserved shit, because again, 2021, folks, guys, you can do better. There's a lot of good that you are doing, and I hope I've made that clear. Sayako is a really cool character. She does hit with her purse, which is inherently funny anyway, but she does follow that up with roundhouse kicks. And I am impressed that, so far as I've seen, the camera is not lingering on her ass or up her skirt. Everything is framed and angled in a way that focuses on the power of her roundhouse kicks, not ooh. Let me. It's like, oh, let me do one of these so I can see up her skirt. No, can't do that. That's not the point. So that's good. That's good. It's good. And I do enjoy how generally sex and sex work positive and even fetish positive that this game and previous games in the series continue to be. It's not perfect. I'll give you an example. There are trans characters in a couple of these games. That's good. Not a lot of trans characters in games. Almost no trans leads in games. Are there any except for maybe some indie games? No, I'm thinking of one. I can think of one, and it's a spoiler, so I can't say. Yeah, I can think of one, and it's kind of an indie, high budget, but kind of an indie game. So there have been trans characters in the past, and the games have generally treated these characters very well. Treated them as human beings, right? But their appearance is almost always played as a joke, right? The game asks you to see these people as people, which they are, but it also wants you to laugh at their appearance. These people are people. They have humanity and they deserve your respect and civility, but they're funny. Look and laugh at them. It's like, So again, I can appreciate all of the genuinely good things that this series continues to do, while still pointing out where it falls short and can do better. So, spray perfume. I think that I believe that is actually in there. I think that is one of her moves. And again, it's not like hitting people with your purse is an inherently bad thing. Because, as I've already pointed out, it's inherently really funny. Conking someone over the head with a handbag and then doing a roundhouse kick is great. So I'm not saying that should be removed from the game. I'm not even saying some of her other attacks, like the stuff regarding her compact or perfume or any of the cutesy stuff that she doing that to charm other characters or whatever. Because that stuff is all adorable and cute. So I'm not saying remove it. The reason it's a problem is because she's the only female in the party. And like Cinnamon from Mission Impossible before her, her role is defined by her gender, and my chair just fell back. Damn this thing. You know, you have the Yakuza, the cop, the nurse, the girl. You can do better. Ryuga Gotoku Studio. I know you can. You're doing a lot that's really, really great. And I applaud that. But you can do better. Now, now, I have 4 characters in my party in this RPG game. 3 guys. The Yakuza, the nurse, the cop, and the girl in the miniskirt who walks around in heels and hits people with her purse. However, as I've increased my bond with these guys... Oh, there's also a mini game where you go to the movies and you try to stay awake. It's actually really funny. There's like sleepy sheep that pop up behind you are like, sleep! And you have to... It's a button pressy rhythm game. It's really funny. Anyway, so when I increase the bond with the characters, it says, you've increased the bond from level 2 to level 3. Now your character will earn more EXP even when they're not in the party. Well, that implies that there's going to be more than just these 4 characters. So, I would assume that I'm going to get a 5th, or 6th, or 7th, or 8th character at some point. So, will there be another woman? 2 more? I don't know yet. And if you do, don't spoil in the chat. Lindy says, not unless she has a brick in her purse. Get a psycho. I'm not sure. What's funny is you can buy different, like equipping weapon. That class, her main class, the weapon is a purse, and you can buy different handbags. Like the first one is cheap knockoff handbag, and it doesn't have very high attack. And then there's like lead-lined handbag or something that has higher attack, something like that. Adachi, I think, the cop, one of his classes is like a construction worker, and for that class, the main weapon is a sledgehammer, and his first sledgehammer is like a inflatable hammer. And so the next one is like the 2-ton hammer or something like that. So it builds like that. It's pretty funny. By the way, so anyway, if there are more characters, whatever they are, don't tell me. I'm not there yet. So, but that's my point is hitting people with your purse is inherently funny. But when you only have one woman in the game, then you're relying on gender tropes and gender identifiers to define her entire character. And it becomes more obvious. Now, if you had a larger cast with more women in it, then it wouldn't be as obvious if you had a purse attack or a compact attack. You just sprinkle them in there because they're genuinely funny and fun to watch. So, tropes like this are not in and of themselves bad things. They only become problematic when they're the only things that particular groups of characters, be that a particular gender, a particular ethnicity, what have you, are allowed to do. Right? But still, anyway, all in all, very fun game. I am very much enjoying it, and I'm still don't know how to play shogi, and I'm terrible at mahjong. Like, I've tried to learn mahjong, and I have some weird block that prevents me from actually understanding, because I'm like, oh, okay, like, I'll read about it online, because it's a super complicated game, and when you're localizing it, in Japan, everyone grows up playing mahjong. It's a very common game. It's kind of like what would be the American equivalent of mahjong? It'd probably be like just regular poker, like the the one with the river and the turn. You know, it's on TV all the time. Where you get two cards and they build the cards out in the center. That type of poker, whatever the hell that's called. Most Americans growing up now basically understand that game. Even if they've never played it, they have a pretty good idea of what a full house is, of what a four of a kind is. Um, so, from what I understand, mahjong is just a pretty common game that most folks who live in Japan would know. So, when Ryuga Gotoku Studios makes Blackjack's another one, sure. Um, Makes the Yakuza games, they have a quick tutorial in there. That just here's all the various hands that you can win with, just as a reference. It's like an 8-page reference card. Um, so when you're localizing the game, you only have that much space to teach an American mahjong. Kind of impossible. So I've gone to external sources and tried to learn mahjong, and man, I still don't get it. There's just something about it that I'm not getting because I'm like, okay, I think I've got it now. I'll go back to the game and then I'll build my melds and stuff like that, and it won't work. I'm like, but three of these and four of these for the I win, right? That I've got it. I'm done. What this is the why is it not working? Yeah. I was talking about blackjack? No, I was not talking about blackjack. I was talking about Texas Hold'em is what it's called. It's poker. But blackjack's a another if we were talking about board games, maybe Monopoly. Like I think most people are at least passingly familiar with Monopoly. You roll die, you go around a board, and you pick up property, and you charge other people when they land on it. There's a collect $200, pass go, collect $200, universal basic income. um, the railroad, pipeworks. Most Americans, I think, have at least passing familiarity with Monopoly, such that if a video game included Monopoly, you could get away with like 2 pages of description. Here's what you do. Here's the rules. You're good. Go. You have that cultural touchstone to build off of. Whereas in another country that doesn't grow up with Monopoly, which I would assume is a fairly American game. I have no idea how global the Monopoly board game brand is. Would probably need a lot more explanation of that game. Then again, Monopoly is nowhere near as complicated as Mahjong. Mahjong's just a horrifically complicated damn game, or maybe I just suck at it. That's possible too. So, in conclusion, Yakuza, good. I like it. Uh, and Ryuga Gotoku Studios really needs to um, localize Yakuza Ishin and Kensan. Why? Because I really want to play them. I mean, I guess I could just learn to read Japanese or something, but that's hard. And I'm American. I don't do hard. So I'm not about to put effort in anything. No, thank you. So that's the podcast for tonight. Thank you everyone for hanging out with me. Come back tomorrow, noon Pacific Standard Time. We're going to, I believe, finally actually get to the finals of the tournament in Trails in the Sky. So that'll stream here on YouTube or on my Twitch channel or Facebook Live if that's how you do. Again, Trails in the Sky tomorrow, noon Pacific Standard Time, and that's it for me tonight. Thank you everyone for hanging out with me. Hope you had fun. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful weekend. Hope to see you tomorrow. I'm dragging this out much longer than it needs to be drug out. Drug out, dragged out, one of the two. Maybe both. Bye.